Hello and welcome to Boomerang Beyond Wellness. I'm Angela Fischetti. Welcome also to Have It Your Way workouts, because today we are going to do another deep dive into one exercise. And this particular exercise is a straight arm lateral raise. I also refer to it as a Delt Abduction, ABD, going away from the midline of the body, and Delt Adduction, going back in toward the midline of the body. Now, the accessories we'll be using today will be a sticky yoga mat, an exercise loop. I'm going to stop right there because I'm going to give you a couple of precautionary measures. These things are typically made with some degree of latex, so if you have a latex allergy, you want to look for non-latex or latex-free. We will also be using, I will be using one pair of 5-pound weights. However, I want to level up by way of wearing wrist weights. So these are adjustable wrist weights. I have them preset for 1.25 pounds. I really like adjustable wrist weights for this particular demographic because they can be washed because you can remove the weights, but also the weights are 1/4 pound increments. So pretty safe for those who have chronic issues. So this moves me further into some more medical disclaimers. Now, if you have any chronic concern whatsoever, and this would be inclusive of, but not exclusive to, the following: rotator cuff muscle issues that are deep to the shoulder, pinched nerve, or carpal tunnel syndrome. And it would be this hand position, wrist position, actually technically, which is wrist extension, that you want to avoid unless you've been already approved to be able to do that movement, all right? So for these issues and any chronic concern, you are invited to preview the video first before participating, and always look at it from the perspective of what you can do. However, if you're not sure, then you can always invite the medical healthcare practitioner who knows your body best to preview the video as well, and then help you make an informed decision. So the joint that's involved here would be the glenohumeral joint of the shoulder, and the muscles for this particular exercise, according to the National Institutes of Health, they state that for abduction, ABD of the shoulder, it involves these particular muscles. So the supraspinatus. The supraspinatus is one of 4 sits muscles. These would be the rotator cuff muscles, and it's a pesky one because it likes to get injured. I know, been there several times, okay? So from painting, too much painting in my house, my apartment, not this time. So to offset this, understand that rotator cuff is meant to stabilize the shoulder joint, right? So what we want to do in order to avoid abduction of that supraspinatus, don't start here with the movement. Because if you begin here, that first 10 to 15 degrees of abduction, that is formed by that supraspinatus. So what you'll see me doing here today is 10 to 15 degrees away from the lateral side of the body, or side body, of course, just 10 to 15 away, and I'm gonna bypass that supraspinatus. So also involved would be the delts, deltoids, the trapezius, and the serratus anterior. Now, here's an interesting thing. According to the NIH, going back down toward adduction, well, notice what I don't include. So we have the pectoralis major, chest muscle. We have the latissimus dorsi. So this is the big swimmer's muscle that it's referred to. And also the teres major, which in massage therapy, we call this the lats little helper. And notice what I didn't mention. The delt, the supraspinatus. So on the way down is not the issue, folks. It's on the way up, which is also an indication, at least to me, that the deltoid muscle group is not meant for you to go to your maximum. You can get easily injured because of the involvement of the rotator cuff muscles, which are a stabilizer. So anyhow, so those are the muscles that are involved. Now, the activities of daily living in general, the deltoid muscle is involved in, well, anytime you go to get dressed and you put a shirt on over your head, deltoid muscles. You're up there still washing your hair. Well, deltoid muscles, scratching your head, trying to figure things out. Deltoid muscle. Also, whenever you reach up and put away something, deltoids involved, and the actions of pushing and pulling. So when I go to push something, now be mindful that it's not just about a strong upper body pushing. It's got to come from the hips. When you're standing, it's going to come from the hips, right? However, muscles involved would be the pectoralis major again. We have that front deltoid, the anterior deltoid, and the tricep muscle, the back of the upper arm. Conversely, we have the opposing, which is a pull. So let's say you are starting a really old-fashioned lawnmower. I know, we didn't always drive them around, right? So your hand is down on the mechanism and you're pulling. It's a row. So that pulling action, well, you have upper back muscles, you have the posterior deltoid involved, and the bicep. Now, I just want to go into some gentle reminders. So whenever you do your own workout, because you're not going to work hard enough here to require a rest, you're not. But in general, it is advised that you feel free to stop and rest whenever you need to, but it's not an invitation to quit. So you come back into the exercise after you give yourself a couple of moments rest. You come in for one more repetition, and this is indeed how you will get stronger. Also, make sure you keep yourself hydrated with water, unless you have a kidney bladder issue I'm unaware of, then you have to pay attention to that protocol. On the channel, you will find a warm-up and a cool-down video, just one video where you can interchange the movements, because it is important for those of us who are 55 years and above to warm up for 10 minutes prior to any workout. You will also find within the community tab on the channel, I came up with this really cool, massive article, but it's really interesting if you kind of nerd-like on this stuff like I am, from the National Institute of Health, and it's basically a whole article about the shoulder joint, the deltoid muscle. It's very, very cool. Also, you'll find some screenshots there from the video and a really nice image showing a female physique, but several of them executing different movements of the shoulder joint and the deltoid muscle. So that's pretty cool stuff that's there for you. Now, how we're going to handle this here today. In general, when you work out on your own, you want to have a set. A set is a group of repetitions between 8 to 15. I'm going to say to do 1 to 3 sets, but if you're really seasoned at training and you want to do more sets, go for it. Just get yourself, try to squeeze in there about a 25-second rest between the sets. And whatever you choose to do, just make sure the exercise is not, the strength training exercise is not being repeated on consecutive days. You want to avoid that. What we're going to do here, though, today is one full set, 15 repetitions, but that's it, all right, of the exercise. However, to help those with chronic concerns, to help those who are brand new to strength training or even brand new to exercise, we're going to break this down 3 different ways. The first 5 repetitions, no equipment whatsoever, no accessories. The second 5 will be with, I'm going to show you how to use an exercise loop. Simple, small accessories that you can get yourself that are excellent for strength training. You know, I had broken this wrist and I had to negotiate to have the cast a little shorter because they brought it all the way up to the crease of the elbow, which meant I couldn't fully flex that elbow and therefore bicep and all this. And I once had osteoporosis. I am downgraded to age-appropriate osteopenia. And I had to make sure that I didn't get osteoporosis again during this recovery process, because it was a 6-month process, and not including my PT, by the way. So I knew I had to strength train the upper body without offending the cast and the placement of the bones, and was able to do so, and I did not become osteoporotic again. I used the bands, the tubes out, and especially the loops. I want to show you how to use that unilaterally. And then for the final 5 repetitions, this is when I will add the weights, dumbbells, along with the wrist weights. So let's begin the exercise. So as always, we're going to review the athletic ready stance. So you want to stand with your feet hips width apart, placing your hands on the high pelvic bone called the iliac crest. What you don't want to do is turn the fingers in, point straight down, double check. Toes same line as each other, ankle, knees to the inside of the pelvic bone. That is what is meant by hips width apart. I'm going to turn to the side. And what we want to avoid is when there's like sort of that twerking movement, it's an anterior pelvic tilt, it's like a little back bend. We want to actually come into a slight posterior pelvic tilt, a tuck. We don't want to go so deep into it where we start going into a standing abdominal crunch. So there it is. That's your athletic ready stance. So I'm going to begin with my arms out here bilaterally here. That means both at the same time, 10 to 15 degrees away from the sides of the body. And exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Exhale. So we want to try to get all of the breathing in and out through the nose. We're going to go for 2 more repetitions here. Notice I take my time, and notice that I pause at the peak of the contraction right here. Beautiful. Now I'm going to grab the exercise loop. Now, because it is made out of latex or non-latex, and these are non-latex, by the way, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to a light fixture here, and I just want to make sure there's no little tiny pinhole, because if you ever have it and you're exercising near your face and it tears, it's going to hurt when it hits you in the face. Been there, did that, all right? We don't want to do that. So place the hand on the hip, insert your opposite hand through the loop, and here we go, out and up. So there's a couple of ways you can hold the arms and the hand position. Now this is where carpal tunnel has to be very, very careful that they don't do this. I'm going to get real close here. A lot of times people leave, you see that? They go into wrist extension. Please don't do that, all right? Do not do that. So we want a straight wrist, and I'm going to go for 2 more repetitions. I know it's 1 extra, but why not? So you're depressing the opposite shoulder so it doesn't hike up. And then we take it over to the other side, high up on the hip. So it's that sort of really high bony section of the iliac crest. And here we go, up. I just had to make sure I didn't move it around. And exhale, pause. I'm telling you folks, you will get a great workout with the bands, tubes, and loops. Yeah, I'm going to go for 1 more. Belly button drawn in. Exhale, pause. Control it down. All right, now here comes with my adjustable wrist weights. I like the company All Pro for this. They've been around for decades. I've been shopping with them for over 3 decades, and they are still incredibly fairly priced. They're a mom and pop, and I'd rather give them my money. So now, nice pelvic tuck. This time, I'm going to show the arms like so. So we showed the loop unilaterally, and now we're showing the weights bilaterally. But you know, if you want to do it unilaterally, if you want to alternate, you know, whatever works for you, it's all good. So this is 6 1/4. I find when I go heavier, it's a little pesky on that supraspinatus. Last one. And control it down. So that's what we have for you today, folks, here on Boomer and Beyond Wellness. Folks, if you do find that there's some value here to my content, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, because that kicks up the analytics, helps other people see it. My whole reason for forming this channel is for those with chronic concerns. I call this the Chronic Concerns Corner, because there needs to be a safe place for people to come to look at the work and just basically choose what they can do. And that's why I'm offering the Have It Your Way workouts. So you're learning one exercise at a time and you're deciding, is this appropriate for me and my issues, right? Also, please share with these people. If you know people who are really timid to strength train, please share the videos. And if you're up to it, give it a kind comment, because that can always help. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to be reminded of my new content. Also, if you're interested in working with me privately, I am a licensed massage therapist, and I specialize in geriatric massage, and I also do palliative care massage. And I work in the Fort Lauderdale area, more specifically Lauderdale Lakes, but generally Fort Lauderdale. And of course, that's on site, right, in your home or your place of business. And from a senior fitness perspective, if you want to work with me privately, I do virtual/remote work, whatever you call it, this stuff online. And I do personal training. Also, I do this with Hatha Yoga, and the opposite end of the spectrum for prenatal yoga. So with the personal training, we have 60-minute sessions, but also the Have It Your Way workouts for one exercise, one person, 10 minutes. You can always contact me by way of the contact form on my website. That's boomerandbeyondwellness.com. So I thank you all. Until next time, stay healthy, eat your greens, eat your beans, and drink your water. Thank you for your support.